And it says we are live. Live, I say. What's up? That was quick. How's it going, Derry? My new-ish hot end block for the Frown King. I did some additions. It just came off. So now I'm gonna pull some supports, baby. This is HTPLA, which is, if you haven't used it before, renowned for being extremely difficult to get supports off, even with Ideamaker / S3D supports. They just don't like letting it go. But I do have an easier time with these, as you see, than I do with like Cura. Cura is the worst when it comes to supports. No if, ands, or buts. Maybe Slicer. I don't use Slicer enough to really say. Cura supports suck. Plain and simple. They just plain suck. Look at that. It just popped right out. And again, this is HTPLA, which is notoriously difficult to get supports out of. That's support. It is now. Yeah, it was support. Let's see. Hard part's going to maybe get that out of the dock, which I was going to avoid it doing, and I forgot to block it. I have to remove them. What's up, Rick Cisco? Yeah, regular PLA and ABS, I never have problems either. HTPLA and PETGs, sometimes. I don't run a lot of PEG, but particularly this. You know, you're going to frown if you know the story behind this, but this is Maker Geeks, which sucks because it's really good filament. When you get good filament, let me rephrase that. When you get any filament from Maker Geeks, it's really good filament. I bought a boatload of it years ago because this Raptor filament, their HTPLA Raptor filament, is really, really good filament. It really, really is. I know there's haters in the world. It's more support right there. Hard to tell because I put a brim on it to make everything stick because there's a lot of. Oh, did you break? You did. I had a feeling that was going to break. Oh. Come on. The HTPLAs adhere to themselves just too well. I've been thinking about starting to double the line width. I had a feeling this little tab was going to break off. Really not a big deal. You know, I'm just going to take it off. Doesn't really do anything but hold the fan, and the fan's got 3 other spots anyways. Doesn't really need that one. But I mean, the cleanliness of what comes off. I mean, this is equal to. I mean, they're the same as S3D. The support system is exactly the same. I find the ones in Ideamaker actually come off better. What's up, Brian? I thought you were going to Murph. You're not going to Murph? For some reason I thought you were going to Murph. Or are you just going tomorrow? For some reason I was under the impression you were going to be at Murph. You're not Murphing. No, so you can whine with the rest of us. Anti-Murphers. We're the anti-Murph. We're anti-Murph. We just can't afford to be Murphers. Or can't get there or have real lives. So we're not Murphing it. But But yes, most of the true HT PLAs, the ones made with the 870 or 850. I think there's an 850 and an 870 HT PLA, and that's the most PLAs are 520 or whatever they are. That's the bake of it here in the U.S. I know it's different in China and foreign countries, but here in the States, there's your standard PLA. There's your all organic PLA, which I'm not sure which numbers are which on that. But the HT PLAs are 870 and 850 numbers, I guess you'd call them IDs, and that's their ID on the actual raw material. And they're notoriously famous, if you use them a lot like I do, for being extremely difficult to get sports off of, because they have a habit of sticking to themselves rather aggressively. These have been popping out. It's just getting it started. Let me watch. Because Ideamaker and S3D too. I mean, that's what the original reason I bought S3D was for the sports, and that's one thing I will always give it. S3D is or was king of the sports. Ideamaker is just as good, if not better. Which we'll be going over because I just downloaded the new version of Ideamaker that they released a couple hours ago. It literally got released, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago? I think they released it for MRRF. And it's just a beta. But it has a couple of things in it. Again, there's a bunch of stuff in it, but a lot of it I have zero interest in. But some other people might have interest in it. These are going to be the hard ones to do. These. This is the actual. This is the head for the. Basically, any of the Creality Ender and for the ANET. It's the exact same head, but this is the new head that this was actually designed by Stefan from CNC Kitchen, and I modified it because this channel here, where the wires come up from your hot end, was too tight, so I added like 2 millimeters, thickened this right here, and left the nozzle where it is because I actually love where he's got his nozzle blowing. So if you look right here, I got a little ripple where I literally split it in Fusion because I'm not even sure what he designed it in. Added, split it, moved it over, added 2 millimeters, and I reattached everything. I did it all in Fusion. Well, that was easy. That one popped right out. Let's see if I can get this one out just as easy. Let's go to the stiffer side of things. Well, there we go. That was easy. They both popped right out, and that's in for supports on this puppy. So yeah, that's the head for it. And I really like it because it's got this, which is, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a throat that tightens up right around the heater block. And again, this is HT PLA, and it'll heat up. What's up, 3D Bunny? It will heat up, and it will sag at first. The first time I heat it up, it'll sag a little bit. But the actual heat, Team No Murph, that's us. Or Team Wah. Because it's HTPLA, the first time it heats up, it'll actually anneal it. I've had this discussion with lots of people. All of my hot end blocks on every single one of them now, that one, that you can see it, the whole thing is HTPLA. All that purple is Maker Geeks, every bit of it. Which I hate saying it's Maker Geeks, but that's what it is. It's all been annealed. The hot end itself never got annealed because you don't need to, because you just heat it up, let it run for 10 minutes without actually running the printer, and then let it cool down. And anything that is anywhere near the heat gets heated, annealed, and then it's heat resistant. So I'll run this for like 10 minutes with the hot end at like 230 and just let it sit there without any fans running. I'll unplug all the fans and everything, fire it up to 230, kind of watch it because I'll turn the hot end fan and everything off, and let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes and then let it cool off. And this will be annealed and we'll never have a problem. That one right now is running. It's been on there forever. That's been on there forever. And oh God, the Max Micron has been. That's what got me on the HTPLAs was the Max Micron. That's all HTPLA, and that extruder's been on there since I don't know 4 years ago, and that's all HTPLA. Yeah, HTPLA is actually better than PETG and very close to PLA. I mean, the ABS. ABS still beats it for heat resistance, but it beats PETG once it's annealed. Yeah, we're Team WAN. Can't be at MRRF. But there is my new little hot end for that. And I put a little spike on it here so I can put the wires on it because I really don't like the way the wires. Again, this is originally designed by Stefan from CNC Kitchen. I modified it very gently. I added, you can see a little, I don't know, can you see it? There's a little lip in the throat here, 2 millimeter lip. I basically took it and cut it and moved everything over on this end 2 millimeters, but left the hot end tip right where it was because it's working perfectly now. Murphy's Law. Happy Friday. Happy, get it? It took me a second. I got my brain in about 8 other different places. But anyway, yeah, that's my new hot end. So, garbage. Tools. Put everything away where it belongs. Have a sip of mixed juice. Look at this. Doesn't that look disgusting? It's actually very tasty. This is 4 different bottles of juice that there was that much left in the bottle, so I just threw them all together. It's like orange juice, grape juice, cherry juice, and grapefruit juice. They were all, there was none of them was, they were, all 4 of them I killed them and filled the glass. It's actually really good. Very, very tasty. Surprisingly good considering. But I mean, I just love juice anyways. So, Ideamaker just released their update. And I'm sort of happy and I'm sort of not, because all the things I was complaining about, I don't think one of them they fixed. And one of them is really kind of important. And let's do the whole screen share thing now. Hey, what's up, Minnesota? I'll be running the bathroom in 5 minutes. No, juice doesn't bother me. I drink a lot of juice. No, I don't drink prune juice. That's just disgusting. Prunes are gross. Let's see. Share screen. Now I need to fire up the new Ideamaker, which this is a first for Ideamaker. Before, whenever I opened up a new one, you had to reload it even though you had the old one. This is the first time it pulled all my settings off the old one, which I'm not sure I like. It looks pretty much the same. Everything's there. Let's add a file. Oh, no, that's too not busy enough. Now, it can't repair this, and I don't know why. Nothing's been able to repair it. And I put it in the mesh mixer, and mesh mixer, it's not finding anything wrong with it. So it's weird it's reporting it. And Cura reported it as an error, too, because I put it in the Cura. Cura wouldn't even slice it. Came up as an error. Let's actually Not have that in there. Let's load something else. What do we got? And look at all this stuff. What have I downloaded lately? Pounce. My kitty. I had to download my own kitty because I couldn't find the original model. All my hard drives are, yes, scale it up. All my hard drives are unplugged right now. So this is Ideamaker, if you've never played with it. I should probably keep chat somewhat visible in case any of you guys have never played with this and have questions. This area right here. Well, the biggest thing, actually, let me just move this over. Oops, I got that on. Right here is, for one, all of these settings are so much easier to deal with than with Cura. The adjustments, you can free cut, so I can actually make this 2 separate models, make it 2 colors, do all that. I never use it, but you can free cut and do multiple different materials right in the slicer, which Cura will do, but not that easy. All of these settings are much easier to operate, control, blah, blah, blah than Cura. But the big one, and I will bring that model back in I just had, the CNC's modded, is this is the big one right here, supports. This has the same support systems as S3D. I can remove them, I can add them, I can do whatever I want with them. You can go around and put them in where you want to, you can take them out where you don't, you can let it auto figure where you want them. You can do like this one, I always take out the center row and let it bridge. Works fine, saves a whole bunch of time. Most of the time, I don't know if you guys do a lot of this, but most of the time they always put in circles. They put the supports in. You don't need supports in circles. In most cases, if you have a decent printer. And that's the big thing. That's really what got me what started on Ideamaker were the supports. And it's a free slicer. So it has a support system of S3D, but it's a free one. It does have a few limitations, but the other thing is, it's all based on the filament, not on the printer. It's got the fastest printer switching. If I wanted to go to a different printer, current printer, you just go up to here, current printer, come down here. I can change it to my max micron, move them around. Everything's fine. If I want to switch back to the other printer, so if you're a multi-printer house, you can switch between printers instantaneously. And it is instant. S3D is not as fast, Cura is not as fast. They all have to think about it. And it's more because Ideamaker is a filament slicing based slicer more than it is the printer based slicer, if that makes sense. There's with most of the S3D and Cura, you do a lot of settings for your printer that stay with the printer. With this, there's very few. It's your size, your shape, and your nozzle. And that's about it. Everything else is based on the filament. So it's a good and bad thing because I've just started reusing it. You end up with a lot of filament settings and everything's in here. Now, here's one thing I freaking hate about it is you have to go through all these freaking windows to get to the settings. They don't have a bypass basic. They need to put a bypass right here. Bypass. Never look at this window ever again. I don't care about that stupid little window. It's just a waste in my way. And you always have these stacks of windows laying around underneath everything. that are just useless. And you got to keep going through them and going through them. But once you get here, this is almost identical to S3D. And I do have that already loaded. Good. This is actually, I did linear advanced settings. And that's the one thing I really like about this, because unlike Cura, this is um, filament based, and this is the big plus, is I can set my linear advance different for every printer or for every filament, because every filament's good. If you play with linear advance a lot on it, I did it with the basic. You'll have a slightly different linear advance. So here it's like K101, 1.1. The other one's like 94 or 80 something. So you do the linear advance test print with your filament, find out what your setting is for your linear advance, and you save it for the filament, which this can do. Cura cannot. Cura, your start G code is saved for the machine, not for the filament. So each one of these I can change. The other big thing I like about this is your per layer settings. You go in here, you select something. Let's say, right now it's at layer height of 0.2. I want to change that at, say, halfway up. Say, I don't know. And just for this model, I can change the per layer height. Tell it at, say, setting one, end at, start at Z160. That don't make any sense. Anyways, you can change the settings and say I want to add my infill density and make it 40, or I can add a setting, and you can add just about any setting you want, including dual extrusion, infill, flow rates, anything you want within the setters. You can change your supports. You can change your cooling, and you can do it anywhere in a model you want. You just give it a height and a start and stop, and it's there. That's a beautiful thing. You can slice per model. Like right now, I could slice this with both of them on there, but only slice this model if I wanted. Then you can make it so you can move it around, and it will literally, you could slice this and then have it print the little kitty, and then come over here, and as long as you know the head's not going to collide, and I believe there's a setting in there, I haven't played with this much, but it'll actually fully print this, then come over here and then fully print this with totally different settings without ever having to remove this, as long as you give it the head dimensions. You have to tell it what the head clearances is and everything. I haven't played with it. From what I understand, it works really well, but it's a big setup thing. This is one of the settings that's new. Add modifier. Box, sphere, cylinder. Add from local disk. For the sphere. Radius 2, 3, segment 60. Okay. Okay, so what the hell does this do? Change settings of overlap. Support structure. So you can just make a solid support structure. So that's kind of the same thing as what annoying Cura does. I hate Cura support. That whole, oh, now we can eliminate support so you can sort of have custom supports. And it's like, no, that's not custom supports. That's just obnoxious. Yeah, I want to delete that thing. Supposedly you can do stuff with that. What else does they say you can? Let's see. History, I was just there. Where is it? Saint Smart. I looked at Saint Smart. This history is just really weird with Chrome. I was just not a half hour ago by the end of Bottle Cage at Race 3D and downloaded it. So it should have been in the history. And it's not there. And I thought I saved it in here, but I guess I didn't. Well, here's the release. Release notes. Read more. Let's see what they have to say. I haven't actually read. Yeah, cookies. Going home? You're at work. Must be nice to be able to play on the internet at work. All right, see you, buddy. Let's see what they have to say. What do they have to say? Added adaptive layer height. This feature can automatically choose the different layer height values for different structures. Smaller layer height for detailed and larger layer height. Oh, so this is like what Prusia did. That's pretty cool. So you don't have to sit here and splice it and tell it, you want to do a 0.2 layer here and a 0.5 layer here, and, a 0.05 layer here so it doesn't get the rings. It should do it all automatically. Using modifier to add shells. Okay. All right, so the modifier just becomes part of the model. All right, I get what the modifier does. That's kind of cool. But you don't get this little double ring if you want it more solid in the middle. You can just add the modifier and not increase the shells on the outside, but increase your shells on the inside ring. It's not a bad deal. Let's see. Now, why would I want support structures floating out in the middle of my benchy? I don't get that one. Update on the icons. Yeah. Sequential printing, which they sort of had before, but I guess they fixed it. It didn't really work, from what I understand. Added printer settings for sequential printing. Okay. Offsets and all that kind of weird crap. All right. Oh, right. That's what I was talking about. It tells you where the head is, so you know where it clears, which they were working on before. Per layer setting Z selection. Added interface to adjust Z and start and end positions per layer. Okay. Solid top and bottom layers. Add top, solid, and bottom layers. That's nice because I'm always playing with that. It's one of the things in Cura I do a lot is have more top or more bottom. But this just lets you set the top and bottom, and that's that. They're both the same. So if you make it 5 layers, they're both 5 layers. Although they weren't before. You always had multiple layers since the last update. That's weird. Additional per layer options. Added options of print speed, flow rate, infill type for solid layers under per layer setting. Okay. None of this is all that big of a deal. Extruder switch settings for multi-layer. Internal brim. That's kind of nice. If you want to use the brim, you could use a smaller one because now it'll brim on the inside. It never used to. It only used to go on the outside edges when you applied a brim. Added a gyroid infill pattern. I don't understand the big thrill of that, but sure, looks cool. Enable disable all fans. Added enable cooling fans option to enable or disable all the controllable cooling fans instead of changing multiple options. Oh, okay. Added print speeds to brim and skirt. Added concentric patterns for support structure. That might be cool. I tried that. Added concentric infill pattern for infill structure. I don't know if I'd want my infill structure to be the concentric, but added support solid base layers speed setting. Added dense support speed settings. A lot of speed settings. White wall stop after color switching, which I don't care about because I don't have any dual color printers. Added solid infill outline shell option. This option will print a few loops around the solid infill to decrease the chance of collapse of solid fill structure. Why would a solid fill structure need extra because it's solid? It don't make a whole lot of sense. Added infill outline shell option. We'll print a few loops around the infill structure to improve the adhesion of infill structures, especially when the model has been modified to use multiple infill patterns in one print. Okay. Oh, through the modifiers, you can change the infill pattern. That's bizarre. So you can use two different infill patterns in the same piece with to one of those modifiers, and it will put a shell around the two so they adhere to each other. That's kind of cool. But that should be part of it, anyways. Improved heat bed settings flow. Big whoopee. Added change G code E length by multiplying filament flow option. Once enabled, the global flow rate will be controlled by code 221. Anymore, but always will not be controlled. Oh, I see. G code will be added directly. Set the motion blur, blah, blah, blah. Nothing I really care about. Works fine now. Plus, I'm using linear advanced, so that'll just screw me up more than anything else. Added start G code and end G code settings under filament settings. Okay. And world transform for scale. They had that before. What was there before? And a rotation cutting for settings for cutting plane. That wasn't there. They have played with the cutting some, but and more example models. Who cares about the example models? Added a new option in view menu. No sequential printing. Okay. Add a new option into slice menu or layer settings. Add a new option into the model settings menu. Will appear when you right click on the model. Add a question mark button to all operation panel links to our support page. That's kind of nice. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can go get help. Added slice button behavior option under preferences. Display, prepare to splice, select template, slice without prompting. Okay. Added support for Polish language. I guess that's important if you're Polish. Optimize extruder's printing range interface. The highlighted gray area indicate the boundings where models cannot be placed. Oh, I see, because the head can be not equal. So it may not be able to move all the way over. I get it. I never use that anyways because I set the bed to my actual usable space, not. I don't know if you guys know what this is. Ideamaker allows you to measure your bed and actually give you your bed dimensions, but then there's a printable range of the bed. Where in other words, when you hit home, the body of the extruder might still not be all the way over. The nozzle might not be all the way to the end of the build plate. Because the actual extruder body hits the edge of the frame or the stop or whatever. So you're not really getting the full width of your so-called printable area. The bed is not necessarily the printable area. Usually the beds are larger than the printable area. And what this allows you to do is set your actual printable area spacing so it can hit it exact and you don't go over your edges and all that crap, which is cool, but I just never use it because I always set my bed in the slicer to the actual printable area, which I think most people do. Oh, let's see. But if you use one of their printers, they send it to the actual print bed size, not to the printable area size. Remote connection, that's all for the Raise 3D crap. If you actually have a Raise 3D, bug fixes. Fix the random crash issue caused by undo reduce. Never had that problem. Remove the max limitation for the first layer height. The old limitation was 0.0 layer height. Don't care about that. I want that percentage gone. Fixed infill overlap issue caused by combined infill layer option. Never had that problem. Move the extra structure generated at white towers. Don't use white towers. Fix the dislocation issue when changing the view. Never had that problem. Fix the primary extruder display issue under select template. Never had that problem. Fix the automatic slowdown feature. Have had that problem where it keeps slowing down and slowing down and slowing down because it's printing a small area. So that's good. It'll just slow to its set speed and not continue to slow down at a percentage because it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It'll just get to its minimum speed. Fix the number of input issues under print. Local storage, edit. Remote control. Don't care about the remote control. Fix the interactive extruder cooling issue, the first layer. Never had a problem with that. Fix normal type support gap issues, which cause the support structures have one layer gap, even when the vertical offset layer set to 0. Oh, okay. Fix the raft extruder, which I don't use a raft. Fix the bounding box issue. Fix the crash caused by importing a file with build plate shape is set to ellipse. Fixed oversized rotation circle display issue under local transform. Okay. Fix the reverse clockwise and counterclockwise button of rotation in Z. Oh, thank God, that's good. And if you've ever used it before, you've probably seen it where you go to rotate something, and if you grab it on the right side and you rotate it, it'll rotate as if it's on the left side. So if you push down, it'll actually go up, and if you push up, it'll actually go down. It'll reverse it. So that's fixed. That's a good one. Fix the small hole generation issue on pillar type support structures. Not a clue. So the one thing I really wanted, they're not saying they fixed. Delete. Okay. Because the one thing I use a lot is I often will take, and not on this printer, let's actually change the printer to the Ideamaker because I do it quite often with this because it has a much bigger nozzle. Edit, advanced. Now if I set my first layer height at 2, no matter what, I want my first layer height at 2. It works very well on that printer, no matter what. I get perfect adhesion at layer 2. But sometimes I want to build, because it's a 0.6 nozzle, I can actually go up to 0.4 in my layer height. That's your maximum. I usually do it at 0.3 if I want to do fast. They used to have this weird glitch in here, though, and they saw it as a fix, but everyone was like, no, we do this because we want to set it that way. They used to have it as a percentage. If you set your first layer height at a certain percentage, your total layer height from then on could only be your first layer height had to be 80% of your layer height. So if you set your first layer at 0.8, the maximum you could do your first layer is 1. Does that make sense? So if you were doing it at 0.2, the maximum you could do is like 2.24, even though you put in 0.3. It wouldn't go above 0.24. Does that make sense? It would never go more than 80% or 20% above your first layer height, which was obnoxious because, again, I quite often print at 0.3 layers, layer height, to do stuff really fast on the Core XY with the big nozzle. But I still want that 0.2 layer height for my start layer because that adheres beautifully. That makes sense. So I don't know if they fixed that. They didn't have that listed. They said they were gonna. Everybody, there was a bunch of us that made us think about it. The problem is it read right here when you went and did the preview. It read correctly. And the tail. What am I dropping? 8.5. So it's dropping 0.3. So that's good. And it's all right. And the first one is 0.2. 0.2, and it should go to 0.5 because I'm going to a 0.3 layer height after that. And it looks like they fixed some of their retraction-y movie crap. The last time I sliced this, there was these travel moves going back and forth for no freaking reason. They still have a lot more than they should. Look at them all right there. But they all do that. It's not just them. I don't get all their need. Why don't they just go around it instead of going from here all the way over there to put that little dot, then go all the way over here to put that? Why don't they just go from here, put the little dot, here, put the little dot, here, put the little dot, here, the little dot. I just don't get it. I mean, some of this is because it's doing the infill and it's traveling, and it's going to go over and come back. But again, it could just go zing, 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 and right here. Start this one, zing, 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 and then maybe have to come back for this one, and that's it. They don't need all of these travels, and it's not just Ideamaker, Kara, freaking S3D, they all do it. Isn't that kitty cute? He's ready to pounce. Ready to jump on something. Anyway, so that is the new Ideamaker. And I'm thirsty. So there's not a whole lot of new stuff. And the big one I really wish they'd get rid of. Well, I do like that now. That wasn't there before. I can go straight to the preview. And I do like their preview more than most because it is just a single color and it's a true line representation. Unlike S3D that gives you this big 3D thing and everyone's like, oh, that's awesome looking. And it's really not because you can't actually see the line. This is much more representation of the real thing. S3Ds makes this massive 3D looking line, which this is too, but nowhere near as bad. And they hide a lot of their issues. And there's your scene. Doesn't that look terrible? But it's actually not showing. It's still very nice now that I did a linear advanced. It's actually working quite well. Because this is a weird thing. I know some of you have already seen this, but this one was done with Kira. I don't know if you can see that video, but it's got like chicken pox. And I don't know why, because I've done hundreds of things like this that are all straight edges with Kira with the same settings, and everything works fine. But the minute I do organic, and this is not the only thing, anytime I do an organic shape, it gets chicken pox. This was done with Ideamaker, and it's okay. You cannot see that seam. And this was also done with Ideamaker, and you can't see that seam going up the tail. This one's, I did this one after doing the linear advanced settings. That's near perfect. That's just like awesome. Let's focus on it now. Well, focus. There it goes. Sort of. I mean, that's near perfect. Not absolutely perfect, but it's near perfect. It's not bad. This one's not terrible either, but it's not as good. There's a few minery looking things. Not as smooth. It's also a little bit bigger, so some of that issue might be just because of the size. Please. Yeah. So anyway, here we are at, we're not at MRRF land with my new little, oh, it printed the bracket. The other thing I don't like about all of these is even the stock ender. Now that we're so totally sidetracked with this mount. So the stock ender ones only attach right here, these two screws. All of this stuff is dangling off of these two screws way over here. Even with the sheet metal one that's stock, it's still kind of bogus. That makes sense. So I made this little thing, modified it here, where I can put a screw, have a clamp, and this will actually go up behind the carriage, and I can tighten that up, and it should. So right now, the one I have now is kind of flexing away. Here's the cage, and it's rolling away from the actual carriage because there's nothing over here holding all of this. So as the wires and everything are pushing on it, it pushes away because it's literally sitting on these two little itty bitty plastic clamps. Where now, if I put this on there, that will snap into the back of it, like so. I gotta pop out this little piece of infill, which I didn't want in the first place. I don't know why I printed it, probably because I forgot to delete it. But now, this will go behind the carriage, clip onto the lip, and then screw on behind the fan. And that should hold this whole carriage tight up against or this whole cage tight up against the carriage. That makes sense. That is the plan anyways. That would be the plan. And I don't see why it wouldn't work. Looks like it should work. Just peachy. As long as everything lined up and I did my math right. It looks like I did. I think this is all look about right. If not, I can make it a little smaller or bigger and print another one. That's all the point of doing. I was originally going to build it right into this. I was like, it's kind of tight tolerances there, and this is going to be small. And I think I'll print it and make it attachable as a separate unit. And that way, if I just screw up these dimensions right here, you know how thick the cage is, and it starts rubbing on the 2020 extrusion, which is the X carriage 2020, I can adjust it and just print this little thing, not this whole thing. Brilliant of me, I must say. Absolutely brilliant. So what are you guys up to? Anybody doing anything fun not at MRRF? Are you at MRRF? Is there anyone here from MRRF at MRRF? I just got a notification that somebody else is doing something. Your comment got a heart from Captain Drone. Whatever that is. Oh, I know what that was about. So yeah, this should work. And I gave it more room for the wires in here. Give it a little more length on the blower tube. Oh, it ends up in the same spot. I gave it a little support right here that I can attach the wires to so they're not just floating around. I can attach the wrap and give it some strain relief. So that might be a tomorrow morning thing. Getting this all installed. Just do it right now. Oh, I want to rewire all the fans because I want to get rid of that extra wire. Yeah, it's going to wait. Already getting late. It's almost 9 o'clock. So there we go. What are you guys up to? Anything fun and exciting? Not at Murph. Anybody? Anybody doing anything exciting? Anybody want to jump in here? You would like to jump in and join and be part of this whole stream? No fun. Get your butt in here, Brian. We need to have a chat, anyways. You should have excitement. I sent you excitement. You should be excitingly building another printer with that board I sent you. Jump in here. You're not doing anything. I know you're not. Oops, what the hell did I just do? It's some button that made it go all crazy. This should work pretty well. The one that's on there works pretty well. I gotta say, I don't know what Stefan did, but I mean, there's a tiny little blower on that right here, and it works beautifully. I mean, it printed this. Look at that. It's almost near perfect. There's very little air lines. There's very little issues. There's a little wobbly right here. Right on this that you can't really see in this light. That's the only place, and that, I think it's because it was up against the ports, and I may have to adjust the linear advance. I didn't do it for this filament. I did it for a different brand of HTPLA. I did it for the Snow Labs, where this is the Maker Geeks. So yeah, it may need some fine adjustments, but you guys haven't looked into linear advance. Linear advance can do a lot for you. It can be a real pain in the butt to set up. If you were on Twitter, I was doing it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Tells you what my brain is. I was setting up my linear advance, and I was just feeding some of my more popular filaments into it, printing out the little thing and writing down the thing, writing down the number it comes out with for each filament, and plopping it into the Ideamaker, because that's the only one I can do it directly inside the slicer for each filament separately. So I just threw in a filament and I printed it, and then I looked at the printer and I went, oh crap, I can't see that. I loaded clear filament. Yeah, I couldn't see the lines because it's a single. I don't know if you've done it, but it squirts out a single extruder line, and it squirts out all these lines. And you take the best looking line, and that's the number. You know, at the end of each line, it's got a number, and you enter that number into that's your K factor for your linear advance. And I did the whole thing. Wasn't even thinking about it. Printed it all out. Printed like, I don't know, 15 or 20 lines, whatever it does that I had the setting, because I did the wide scan that it does first between 0 and 2. And then I do like 12 once I get close at like 0.05 adjustment. Just printing a castle for my daughter and chilling. Well, that's cool. Hey, jump into the chat if you want. Have somebody here besides me babbling. Anyway, so I got it close. So I started, I got it close for the printer. I started feeding the filaments through individually. I did a half a dozen different filaments that I use regularly. And one of them's clear. And I printed out the clear and I can't see them. And they're pretty fluctuating because these are all the HTPLAs, I think, are like 1.1, K factor of 1.1. Polyalchemy is like a 0.9. And most of my my regular everyday PLAs are in the 0.7. So if you haven't played with linear advance, it's very cool, and it definitely improves print quality. But it's time consuming to set up. You have to do it per filament or per type of filament. They're all gonna, your basic HTPLAs are all gonna be the same. Your basic PLAs are all going to be the same. Your PETs are generally going to be the same, or be close enough where you're not really going to notice it. But things when you start getting into like the polyalchemies, which is like nothing else, so I had to do a profile for it, do a K factor for it. There's a lot of setting, there's a lot of testing, which, like anything, when you get a new roll now, it's just one more test to do. You do your 20 millimeter block, and then you do your string test, and then you do your whatever test, your overhang test with all the different filaments, and it's just one more test. What's up, Sean? Some shameless plugging. Yeah. What time is it? Holy crap, it's almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to bolt out of here. Is there anything good on Twitter or anywhere about Murph? I was on and off watching Walter's little live brick wall broadcast. Started out as just the brick wall. Just live streaming the brick wall. We were all watching the paint dry. Oh no, get going. Yeah, they would have bolt out in 5 minutes. Are you streaming tonight, Sean, or is it tomorrow night? You stream Saturday or Sunday, don't you? I can never keep everybody's crap straight anymore. There's nobody streaming right now, is there? What is CMP? Canadian Maker Project? I didn't know he was streaming tonight. He's at Murph, isn't he? Rick Walter. Yeah. Yeah, Sunday's the official. That's what I thought. I knew it was one of the 2 weekend nights. Me, I just pop on when no one else is because, it fills time. I don't really have any set plan. Everybody else has all the good dates, times, so I just pop on when someone else is in negatives. But the Friday night community thing, the Europe when I was going to watch it, they were just screwing up. And I think they broadcast for like 15 or 20 minutes and they cut it off because they couldn't get it to work or some crap. I only half paid attention to it. I didn't even know he was going to stream. Murph should be done. They kicked him out, didn't they? So you don't even have the Walter Brick Wall stream. Well, that's cool. I forgot he was going over to Italy. That'll be fun. I wish I was going to Italy. I wish I was going to Murph. Oh well. Life's a bitch. Then you die. I just read a stupid thing on, I think it was Facebook, and it was all these stupid little quotes and like how to distort it. It's like one of them that really caught my eye was, "What's up, Jake? Eddie Jake." One of them was, oh, how did it go? Elderly people are going to be really stupid when they're lying in bed dying of nothing. I was just like, what? I just thought that was hilarious. Healthy people are going to feel really dumb when they're laying in bed dying of nothing. Something about healthy people. Well, it was basically busting on healthy people. Go ahead and smoke and eat meat and do whatever you want. One of those type of things. But, eating healthy is just making your death sentence longer or something like that. I don't know. It was cute. I should have copied it. It was funny. What's up, 3D Printing Viking? Everyone's showing up now. I was going to leave, but I can hang out for another half an hour. I should be printing something. What can I print? Something else I wanted to print. I can't remember what it was. Something small and easy. Be sitting strapped in white knuckle waiting. Take out. Oh, you're a kid? Not a big flyer, huh? Kind of stuff never really bothers me. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. No point in being nervous. Print a kitty. I don't know if you guys noticed, but all of my designs went up on Colts this week. Colts 3D or Colts, whatever it is, instead of just Thingiverse. I'm trying to get away from Thingiverse more and more and more because it's just always screwing up. Problem is that it's so popular, but I'm actually getting higher ratings, more downloads of my free crap. I'm getting more hits and likes and downloads on Colts right now than I am anywhere. The Thingiverse and my mini factory and Pinshape altogether. But on the other hand, um, everything just got uploaded this week, and there's it's like 150 designs that are all brand new, slammed into a new group of people that search it. So that's very likely. I'm going to give it a couple of weeks to see, but I'm thinking about doing some selling of some of the higher end things like the Flappy Bird. I'll probably sell on there. I was going to do it on my mini factory and just charge, $2 for a few of the more detailed models, which you should be doing, Sean. Some of your stuff's really good. You should be putting it up there for $1. I mean, even if it's just $1, it's $1. Most people, for what you're doing, will pay the freaking dollar. Why am I not going to MRRF? I was supposed to go to MRRF. I had financial issues. So I decided to not go. I probably could have pulled it off if I wanted to spend every last penny of my saved money, but I don't want to spend every last penny of my saved money. So I didn't go to MRRF. I had a ticket. I had it already. I was going to go. Not going to waste the money. Can't afford to waste the money. It's that simple. Yeah, but my mini factory doesn't get anywhere near the traffic of the other sites. In my experience, Thingiverse is number one. I've actually gotten a few tips off of Thingiverse. Not many, but occasional. I've been thinking about going. If you like my designs, please tip me $1 or $2. Just putting that in all the titles to see if I can get a couple of bucks now and again. I'm not in it for the money. It's just nice. It's nice for a little bit of appreciation. It'll help, replace some of this equipment and pay for it. I'd really like to, if I could get $700 or $800, I'd go out and buy ZBrush right now instead of playing with Core, which I can definitely see the difference after watching Wexter there do all of his models. Anyway, um, my mini factory, I don't get anywhere near the traffic. Basically, Pinshape is my least traffic of all of them, of the four I'm using. I use Pinshape, I use Thingiverse, I use my mini factory, and now I'm using Colts. And again, Thingiverse is number one. Smokes them all. I probably get 200 or 300 downloads every day. Probably 1,000 or so views every day for my. I think I have 150 models on there now. Right now, in this past week, Colts is number two with I'm getting about 50 to 75 downloads every day with about the same views. So most people viewing my stuff on Colts are actually downloading it, which is unusual. I mean, it's unusual for anybody. My mini factory, I'm getting like 2 dozen downloads a week total. It's just not getting the publicity. It's not getting the. And I don't know why, because I've heard a lot of people. Um, I was actually having this talk earlier on Facebook with the dudes from the first layer there, that the younger guy, what the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. Anyways, he puts up stuff on my mini factory, and he puts them on Colts and my mini factory. And he says he actually does better on my mini factory, which I find hard to believe because it's just not getting ahead. Now, I do like my mini factory because they test everything. Or now they've made it submissions faster because it used to take a week. You'd submit it and take almost a week for them to release it. Now, if you've printed it and you submit, a half a dozen photos or so, proving it's printable, they will release it faster. They'll do a software print of it. They have a piece of software that will, basically slice it and say yes, this is printable, or no, you're gonna have problems, and give it errors. But they don't actually print it. They used to actually, from what I understand, they used to have, a couple of dozen guys that would print everything all the time before they would release it. I find kind of funny. But that is kind of nice. Colts, I don't think does that. Thingiverse obviously doesn't. I can't tell you how many Thingiverse files I've gotten off of there that I pulled something off of there. It wasn't even printable. It was just the worst hacked piece of freaking garbage. Unbelievable. Too much SketchUp. There's still a lot of people using SketchUp uploading the Thingiverse. Yeah, well, that's my point. You should be getting a buck or two. I mean, you should actually get more, but you should definitely charge $1 or two there, Sean. Or every once in a while, some of the more detailed, really heavy ones charge for. That's what I think I'm gonna do. Like this Flappy Bird thing, even though it looks simple, has been 3 months in production, just getting all the balances, the weights, and making everything actually work. I'm gonna charge for it. This is probably the 20th one I've printed, and I'm hoping this one will work. The last one I printed, the gold one, actually works pretty well, not perfectly. I think I got to do one more thing because it's hitting top and bottom. I think I need to give it a little more throw before it hits. But that's a minor edit. But I mean, most people pay $1 or $2 for this. I'm sure they will. They don't. Oh well. There's a lot of effort into this stupid little thing, and it's not just a dust collector shelf sitter either, which is another thing. Wait, you had what not fitting? Would you get the copy of that files when I released them there for that week? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, I think they're still up on my. You had the link to the my. God, I gotta lose weight. Can't stand being this fat. Um, I have it up on my Google Drive right now, although it's not this version. It's the one just before this, which is very close. There's only some very minor. Um, yeah, where was I? Brain dead. Yeah, this thing is not the easiest thing to design. And, trying to get the tail to just slip in and hold without actually having to glue it, redesign it. Oh yeah, from Thingiverse, I've gotten models that you just put it into a slicer and it just errors out because they're just terribly assembled. Lots and lots of mechanical models, especially back way when SketchUp was still big before Thingiverse or before Fusion 360 became so popular. Everything was SketchUp, and oh my god, that thing was SketchUp is the worst. It is a terrible piece of 3D printing software. It's good architectural software. Don't get me wrong. I've actually used it a couple times for like floor plans and stuff. It actually works pretty well for that kind of stuff. But for this, no. Too many bad faces and ingrown. I call them ingrown toenails. It leaves like little itty bitty microscopic lines and faces and just spots and dots inside the model that any slicer looks at and goes, "Oh crap! You have basically have a model inside of a model, or a face is reversed, or it's just terrible." SketchUp is probably the worst. This printed really well, really really well. I gotta make a magnetic bend for that. Yeah, I think I can't. I want to get away from Thingiverse. I mean, I'll always dump my free models up on there just because they're free and who cares. I think I have more followers on Thingiverse than I do anywhere. I think I got like 300 or 400 followers on Thingiverse. But yeah, Thingiverse is a big conglomerate of junk. Yes, I did. We really didn't. I just basically looked at it. There's really not. There's a lot of new stuff in it. It's all very small little things that there's a lot of like dual extruder stuff. Honestly, 90% of it pertains to their printers. There's a lot of stuff for their screens and that kind of stuff. There are a couple of new features in it. They fixed the whole um, changing of the start layer to your actual build layers. That was my big thing, is because with this printer, I always start my first layer is always 0.2, because at 0.2 I can get it to adhere to any of my 3 or 4 different beds without an issue. And it used to have a mathematical calculation that if you set your first layer at a certain height, all your layers after that couldn't be more than 20% higher. So if you set it at 0.2, the maximum your layer height would be 0.24. Well, I want to print at 0.3 and 0.32 and 0.34 with that. It's got a huge nozzle, not a huge nozzle, but it's got a 0.6 nozzle on it. So I want to be able to print real rapidly doing this kind of stuff. I'm just prototyping for my saw. I want to print this at 0.3 layer height, maybe even taller, because I just want to do it quick so I can hold it up to the saw and go, okay, I got to change this arc and this hole's got to change. And it's not going to be a usable product. It's already breaking. But I want to be able to print it in an hour or two, not 5 or 6. But you couldn't do it unless you reset your first layer height. It was always calculated your layer height according to your first layer height. It wouldn't let you go over a certain percentage. Or now they finally fixed that. So I can always, my first layer can always be 0.2, and I can print 0.3 or 0.4 if I want. They do cap it at 0.8 layer height, which actually I think that's one of the fixes. Now it's like 1.2. As people are using, they're putting because the Ideamaker, some of the Ideamaker printers use 0.3 filament. So you can put like a 1 or 3, 2.8 or 3 millimeter filament. So you can actually do like a 1.5 or even a 2 millimeter nozzle on them things, which they do. Yeah, I've actually been thinking about getting one. I actually was looking, and they have a stupid little crappy brass nozzle kit for like $7. It has I think it goes 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, 0.2. Actually, I think there's one or two in between there. They have like a 0.5 and a 0.3 or something also. It's like a kit, and it's like $10. I almost want to play with it just to play with the different size nozzles. And I'm pretty much my go-to nozzle now is the brass coated. I like the chrome. I call it chrome coating. They call it some kind of nickely, whatever, shiny. It's chrome. The chrome coated micro Swiss. I actually like that better than the tool steel. That's actually got a tool steel on it. No, it doesn't. That does. That's got the coated. That's right. Yeah, the tool steel is 0.4. Yep. The 0.6 is a brass coated, chrome coated. Which the chrome those are the best I found because they still have the brass core, so they heat transfer the same as brass, and yet when they coat it with that chrome coating, it's got the resistance for the heavy usage. And the only thing I put through it, which is abrasive, but I only put glow in the dark through it very occasionally. And I've had glow in the dark, the same roll of glow in the dark I've had ever since I started 3D printing. It's one of the first rolls I ever bought, and I still probably have half of it. That's how little I use it. I'll print a model and now and again out of it and use, a small portion of the roll. And even when I use it, I usually do it very hollow and, you know, low infill, low shell, thin. So you ordered all those in the nozzle X's. So you just spent $100 on nozzles. More than $100 because they're almost $50 a piece, aren't they? Are they 30 or 49 or something like that? Which is the nozzle X these days? That's actually what that is on the Max Micron. Is it's not the Nozzle X, but it was the preliminary Nozzle X. They were still beta testing it, and it's the one they handed out at ERF. They literally were handing them out. So it's on my Max Micron, which you can barely see down there on the floor. You just see the tips of it sticking out. That's got the true E3D coated tool steel, basically the Nozzle X. One or two generations of beta testing before the Nozzle X. And it works fine. I like it. Yeah, it's pricey. It's not. I mean, the micro systems are cheap. They're $15. I've actually been buying them off of Amazon because it's the same exact price. Um, they're both like $14.99 through Amazon or directly through MicroSwiss. But with Amazon, I get the free 2-day shipping for the same $14. Where through MicroSwiss, I have to spend $50 to get free shipping, and it takes a week. So I just get them through Amazon, same price, and I get the 2-day shipping. Yeah, the micro, and I have a tool steel somewhere, um, micro Swiss too, which is fine. The only reason I really like the coated better is because I don't have to crank the temperature up as much. And I have to bump it about 5 degrees to use the tool steel, which I have to do on that on the Max Micron. I set everything about 5 degrees hotter than I do either of these two printers, and stuff likes to stick to it on the outside more. That chrome, I literally heat these up. Either one of these that have the chrome coating, and actually that's just got. Did I put the chrome one on it? No, that's just solid brass. I literally take a folded up piece of paper towel and I rub it over it while it's hot. It brings it right back up to a shine. Where that tool steel, I have to do a little more than that. You actually have to take Yeah, so you bought their whole hot end. All metal hot ends are not the end all answer all, especially if you print PLA. If you're printing PLA, don't bother with a all metal hot end. Yes, you can get an all metal hot end to print PLA. You know what's easier? A lined one. Your best bet is to get the Capricorn lined tubing and get a lined MK8 hot end. Honestly, that's the best thing for PLA. Will give you the highest reliability. The only, and there is an issue with the PTFE, whether even with the Capricorn, with the regular PTFE, every other month or so, I was having to replace that little piece of PTFE tube in the MK8s. Now, this is not an MK10 that goes all the way one piece. This is an MK8 that is a smaller diameter. It's only a 3 millimeter exterior diameter piece of PTFE tube in there. And all it does is go through the heat break and the nozzle. You have to replace them every couple of months. With the Capricorn, I'm about 6 months now before I start noticing issues, and I got to replace it, which is fine. You buy the length of it, you get like a foot and a half of it for $7, and you're only using like an inch and a quarter. So it's like a lifetime supply of the crap. Yeah, all metal hot ends are just not. Again, you can get them to work. Do work. You can get them to print PLA, but if you're printing PLA and TPUs, a lined hot end is way better. It's just easier. You don't have to dick with it as much. You can put heavier retractions on it if you want to. This is on that max micron. When I run TPU and TPE, I run it. I just literally take my PLA settings, retractions, and everything, because it's the lined hot end with the Capricorn tubing and all of that, and it'll give you near perfect flexible prints. I can even show you. This isn't just flexible, but it's flexible with bridging, not with supports. I bridged with flexible with my PLA settings. And this is TPU. And it came out near perfect. And that's because I used, what's up, Tanner? I used a lined hot end instead of an all metal hot end because I had an all metal. I had an all metal on this, and I took it off. It was giving me more problems than it was worth. And it's an aftermarket E3D hot end, and I bought an actual E3D nozzle and heat break and put it in there, and it just gave me trouble. I mean, it printed okay. I was constantly getting jams and everything, especially with that long button tube. Took it out, bought a cheapo aftermarket garbage lined heat break. Haven't had a problem with it since. Yeah, this is TPE on the MK8 with no supports. It's all bridged. You're ready to have dinner, dude. It's freaking 9:30. You're just getting home. Oh, you're on vacation, aren't you? Or are you off vacation? I mean, look at that. That's near perfect. Yeah, it's using that ruby. It's just don't. Again, if I was in a big production house where I was printing carbon fiber all the time, I would probably get a ruby and I'd probably print carbon fiber like PETG through it. And that's all. I would set it on a machine, and that's literally all that machine would do. It wouldn't print anything else. That's actually kind of early for you, then, isn't it? On a Friday, shouldn't people be out drinking and having fun, and you should be singing and dancing? As I say, I saw where you were up in the mountains or something. That must have been cool. Nice little short vacation, but nice little vacation up in the mountains. That's my kind of vacation. I like that kind of stuff. what I used to do back before I beat the crap out of my body and got old and fat. I used to go mountain climbing and hiking, and I'd do 3 week hikes up into the white and green and Appalachian Mountains all the time. But anyway, yeah, lined hot ends are just fine for your general everyday printing. 11 a.m. to 6:15. Well, that's not too bad. I mean, it sucks that there's no break, but you got to have at least a pee break every now and again. They don't throw wings at you, so you can chew on a wing real quick in between songs. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I don't think either of these two with their big long Bowden tubes would ever be able to do this, which is the only reason I've been thinking about getting rid of the Max Micron because it's just dated and small, and now I got the two big printers, but it's the only direct drive I have, and there ain't no way either of these other two with their big long Bowden tubes are ever going to be able to print flexibles. I'm not even going to try on that, or I never even tried on that either. That thing's got a 15 or 1600 millimeter long Bowden tube. This one's got a 500 millimeter long Bowden tube. Ain't never putting flexibles. That thing's skipping again. I'm thinking I'm actually. You guys know about the actual motor or driver or BS? I'm actually thinking about getting a 4988 and just putting them in the extruder. If I remember correctly, the thing I read is the 2208s are quieter, but they're nowhere near as strong, and they're more likely to skip. The extruder is skipping now again. It's very seldom. It doesn't really hurt the print. I never really notice it other than I hear it because the thing is running so quietly now. But I'm thinking about putting the 4988s or whatever they are, 8825s or. Just run Pete and come back. Yeah, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's not bad though. At least you get out at a reasonable hour instead of being up all freaking night. One thing I got tired of the bars. I used to work bars all the time. Just work until midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. When I worked in Florida, I worked at Charcoals for years, and we would close. The place was open 23 hours a day. It would close 1 hour a day between 7 and 8 a.m. to clean it. They had 1 hour, and I used to do the 9 o'clock to 7 a.m., 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. And that was always fun. You go into work and it's dark, and you get out of work and the sun's just coming up. And we'd go to Chuck Wagon and have beer, egg, and grits. It's the only place that would serve us a beer that early in the morning. 7 a.m. We're drinking Budweiser, drinking Budweiser, eating grits and eggs. That's my younger days. Six a.m. What time did he leave? Did he leave already? I thought he left already. It was time for me to go to bed. What time is it? 9:30. Time did Minnie Sean leave there, Sean? 9 p.m., which is, it already is. 8 hours later. It takes 8 hours to get to Italy. You're doing a long flight. I didn't think it'd take that long. What's he doing? Coming up here to New York first? Then going out international? I figured he'd just leave from Miami or the other international airport down there in Florida. Orlando's an international airport, ain't it? $3:30. Yeah, you should probably go to bed. 8 hour straight flight. That's kind of a long flight. Well, yeah, I guess. Basically, an hour flight to break an hour of the time zone. Then they're about 8 hours behind us, right, or ahead of us, I should say. We're behind them. That should work pretty well. All right, I'm gonna have to go to bed myself. I still haven't watched Happy. Damn it! I keep trying to watch it. I keep falling asleep or getting distracted. I still haven't watched it. I don't know if you guys know what Happy is, but it's that kind of sick, weird cartoon. It's beyond weird, and yet it's one of those you start watching it and you just can't stop. If you haven't seen Happy on, I'm not sure if it's on Comedy Central or FX, one of them two. It's just watch it from the beginning because you'll be like, what the hell? It is. The Kill Bill movies meet Teletubbies. Happy tree friends. Sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bolt. It's 9:30. I'm gonna kill it. Have a good night, guys. Maybe we'll do it again tomorrow night. Have another anti-Murph when we're not at Murph stream. I figured somebody from Murph would be like re-streaming right now, like going over everything that happened today and bragging about it, showing off, making me feel like crap. But yeah, I'm gonna kill it. All right, you guys have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.